that feeling you get down in the core of your stomach, just down in the pit of your stomach, and you have no idea how you feel? Almost to the point to where you ask yourself, was this really the best way to end this franchise? What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my Halloween film review series. Thank you so much, guys, for clicking here. I really do appreciate it. If you've not checked them out yet, my reviews for all the other Halloween films are down in the description below, so check those out when you can. It's been 4 years since Michael's reign of terror. After a young man is accused of killing a boy he is babysitting, a cascade of violence and terror ignites, which forces Laurie to confront the evils of her past once and for all. So back when the 2018 film was being made, it was already discussed that this was going to be a franchise, a 2-picture deal or a 3-picture deal. And they were going to come out with them back to back, but they wanted to wait to see how the 2018 film did first. And luckily enough for Universal, it blew up, much to their surprise. Originally planned for 2020, Halloween Kills was going to be released. Then COVID and the lockdown happened. So a year after that, Kills came out. But during the pandemic and the lockdown, the filmmakers decided to kind of change it up. Originally, Ends was going to take place around the same night that the 2018 film and Kills did. Since those are just both neck and neck, and those take place over the same night, you can basically edit the films and have it as just one big event. They decided to change it up for this one. And let me tell you something, guys. This one is or will be the most divisive one out there of this franchise. They did some really ballsy stuff in this. Stuff that will for sure and most definitely will piss a lot of hardcore fans off. A lot of people off. But before I get into all the stuff that ticked me off about this movie, let's get into the positives for Halloween Ends. Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis. She was awesome in this. She was great. She's always been sort of a mixed bag with me. Like in the 2018 film, I've never really got the fact that her PTSD consumed her so much that over 40 years, she hadn't been able to suppress that. She hadn't been able to get over the horrors that she's seen that night back in 1978. I never really got that. I think they just kind of overplayed that, and it just kind of, I don't know, watered her down. And in Kills, she was really watered down. It didn't really give her that much to do in that. But in Ends, they really upped her character. She captivated me in a way to where this is the Laurie Strode I was waiting to see. This is the kind of Laurie Strode this franchise needed. And compared to H2O, I kind of compared her. She's like neck to neck compared to H2O. The only difference that separates her character from this film to H2O, she'll tell you like it is, and she'll be smart about it. She made me chuckle a few times. And she actually felt like a human being. Her reactions to the people that she didn't know and the people that was pissed off at her because of the events of that night, she actually felt genuine, and it's just something that you can relate with this character. Again, she was the Laurie Strode I've been waiting for. Because of her presentation, she was definitely the Laurie Strode I was waiting for. She had that rough, tough exterior quality about her. She was very blunt. She'll tell you like it is. She was tough. She really shined. Compared to the last 2 films, the writers definitely made up for that. And then, of course, you get Andi Matichak as Laurie's granddaughter, Allison, back. I never had a problem with her throughout this whole entire franchise. She was the one character that continued to stick out to me, that never veered away, that never really got silly or fell into that shtick of what the 2018 film and Halloween Kills delved into. She's always been one of those characters that I've always been glad to see as a final girl, as a cool foe to Michael Myers. She's always been great in this franchise, and nothing has changed in character for me, especially in Ends. The line delivery, as I mentioned before, with the 2018 film and Kills, you get all these stupid, useless scenes and dialogue in the 2018 film that just rendered it useless. That just had no business being in a Halloween movie. And then you had Kills with this whole evil dies tonight shtick that pretty much got turned into a joke. And since then, people has created a lot of memes. I'm guessing the filmmakers got the hate comments, the hate mail. They definitely toned this film down for sure compared to the last 2. With Ends, it feels like it was almost done by different filmmakers entirely. Unfortunately, that's all the good I can say about this entry. As I said before, this one is the most divisive one on the map. It will piss a lot of people off, so as I dive into the mix, Corey, the guy that this film was pretty much based on, the star of this movie, the guy that played him, Rohan Campbell, I had no problems with. I liked the way he handled this character. I liked his deliverance. I liked his emotions. I liked the way he played this character off, his delivery, his performance, all-out performance of this character. I had no problem with the way he acted this character out. I liked him. He's not an actor that I really came across that much. This is the first movie I actually seen him in. But I liked the way he handled this character. I liked his performance. I liked the way he handled himself. But what I didn't like was a big misstep on where they took this character. As the movie went on, I felt like, especially by the third act, they had forgotten about him. It felt like they were leading up to this big thing. But by the third act, it turned out to be nothing. So it's like, why were we subdued to this at all if that's how you're going to end up? What was the point? I just felt like there wasn't really that much of a point there. Now that I get into the things that really bugged me about this film, that whole 4-year gap scenario, that was a big, huge misstep to where you have the last two films that pretty much takes place over the same night. Because of that, it makes this one feel so different. Like, you could pretty much edit those last two films as one big event. But because of that 4-year gap for ends, it makes this one stand out the most. And almost to the point to where you could pretty much separate this one completely from those two. I just think that was a huge misstep logically, because you find out Michael Myers has pretty much disappeared. The killings has pretty much stopped. He's gone in dormant. Nobody knows where he is. And it just doesn't really make that much sense that they chose to go in this path. I really wish they would have stuck with their original plan to actually take this story and take place like right after Kills, just like Kills did with 2018. I wish they would have stuck with that plan. It would have made it better. It would have benefited this film a lot better. And they said that COVID was going to play some part in it somehow, which thankfully it didn't really. The world's problems are going to sneak in there too, and it's like, why? Why? It's okay, buddy. It's okay. The whole direction choice they chose, I hated it. Again, like I said at the beginning of this review, this is the most divisive thing out there that people will get pissed off at. You will get mad. You won't enjoy what this movie brings in terms of direction at all, especially if you're a hardcore Halloween fan. Now, I understand why they did it. I suppose that the filmmakers were sitting around when the lockdown was happening and they were like, you know what, let's just rethink the story to ends and just do something fresh. We can't be having the same song and dance over and over and over again and this and that. And it's like, why not? Why not? This is the end of a trilogy. Don't make it weak. Make it strong. See, that's how I felt about Kills. I really wish Kills kind of would have been, the end to it than Ends, because just the way Ends plays out, it's just not that strong. It's not an ending. It's not something out of a conclusion that you want. It's not anything epic. Just, again, the whole direction change, I hated it. I hated it with a passion. And I'm sure a lot of people out there is going to feel the same way. Now, not that I'm saying that there's going to be people out there that might enjoy it, that might enjoy what they did with the direction and what they did in this movie. I can see that this movie will probably end up with a cult following at some point. I didn't like it. I hated it. I just didn't like what they did with how they presented this Halloween film. It just, to a certain point, it didn't really feel like a Halloween movie. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the way they presented it. Just the length that they took and just the all-out ballsy choices they made in this, it's just baffling. I just feel like they went so far off the grid that it didn't really feel like a Halloween movie in some parts, in some points. Again, going back to that hollow feeling I had, it just left me blank inside. It's like, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to say. I just couldn't believe it. That's why this makes my probably third or fourth time filming this, because I really had to dig down deep to understand and to really know what I was going to say, because this just left me speechless. It left me speechless. I honestly didn't know what to say. The pacing felt like it dragged on forever, especially in the first act. It felt like a build-up movie, but it just wasn't enjoyable. Because of the story and the direction, it just felt so lackish. It's so sluggish, to the point to where I was like, my eyes kind of veered back a little bit. I didn't go to sleep, but I just came that close. And I just kept on inhaling and exhaling, and it's like, get the hell on with it. It just felt like such a heavy burden. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. Just not a pleasant experience at all. There was a lack of gore. This is one of the ones that I can actually honestly say that this was not the most in the kill department. I mean, other than one kill, which was pretty cool, which I won't get into detail, you'll hardly get any gore in this. There's hardly any blood in this, except for the third act maybe, but even then, other than that one kill, I just didn't feel like that. I felt like this was the weakest in the gore department. And for a Halloween movie, that's saying a lot. I just felt like there was really nothing there, and it just, again, adding to the more things that annoyed me in this movie. I do remember hearing something from a producer, an article I was reading, and this is, like, I kind of knew this in the back of my mind, but I kind of wanted to forget. But I do remember hearing that they were talking about the franchise. I think it was one of the producers. They were talking about the franchise. They were saying how good 2018 performed, and then how Kills was like the most bloodiest. When they got to talking about ends, they were saying that this was going to be the softest in the gore department. It wasn't going to be that gory. No! So yeah, that really bugged me there. There wasn't that much gore. There wasn't that much carnage candy. For all you gore hounds out there, you'll be disappointed. It just dragged it down for me. Michael Myers, I felt like they tossed him aside pretty much. Without giving too much away, I just felt like they sidelighted him. I felt like he was an afterthought in some areas, because the whole story revolves around this Corey fellow, which, again, don't get me wrong, I think the actor that played him did pretty well. I thought he performed well. He handled himself pretty well. But because of that and the 4-year gap and just the fact that this kid is the star now, it just made Michael feel kind of sidelined. It was like he was an afterthought. And that reason alone just gives me a deep chill down my spine. I mean, knowing that there's a Halloween movie out there that actually sidelines the main villain to a certain extent just makes me feel like, just wake up. Wake up, Calvin. Wake up, Calvin. Freddy, stop screwing with me and wake me up. Leave me alone. Just wake me up. Plus the whole climax scene, there's really nothing there either. It just felt like the same old song and dance that we got from Laurie and Michael. They didn't add anything new. They didn't add anything cohesive. And for a climax, for something that's supposed to be this big, huge, grand finale, you don't get that there. You don't get that here. There's nothing to get your ghost, Bob. See what I did there? I had a line from the original. It just didn't feel like the ends justified the means that much. There could have been so much more there, but there really wasn't. Just the same old song and dance from two iconic characters that we all know and love for the past 40 plus years. In the end, guys, the film just wasn't for me. It just didn't feel like it was the best way to conclude this franchise, to make it this grand big conclusion. There just wasn't that much there to make you feel that as what a conclusion should make you feel. Now granted, I can see this having some fan base somewhere down the line, a cult following if you will, but for me it was a swing and a miss. So Halloween Ends, what was your thoughts on it? Were you a fan of whole direction change? Were you a fan of anything that they did in this movie, or was this just a complete letdown and just not the best way to end this? It just wasn't for you, wasn't your cup of tea? Leave me your comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, once again for watching this. I really do appreciate it. Stay tuned for a ranking of all the Halloween films, and I was debating on whether I should add the Rob Zombie films in this, but since this is a different review series, I figured why not. So stay tuned for that in the next couple, 2-3 days. Like, subscribe, comment, and share the big 4, and I will see you on the next one. Make sure to click that bell icon as well so you don't miss a thing. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.